Good evening, everyone. This is a day that people in the United States, anyway, have been into the celebration, I guess they could say, of what they call Thanksgiving, and where they overeat and get ready for sports, I guess, and spend time with family, loved ones, and such. So, if anybody has been paying a lot of attention or a little bit of attention to what's going on and what's been happening, there's kind of a transformation taking place. A transformation of what's going on with Abnormal Alabama is kind of morphing into something different. These things have been in the back of my mind for a while. And I've made a few statements about it. I've been giving it thought. This has been kind of a interesting and very life changing year for me after a very lengthy time of dealing with, what I've had to deal with this year without going into all the detail. But I found myself pretty much alone in the world. And this brings about my interest in things of what we call the paranormal, communicating with the dead, and whether some people don't like to phrase it this way, but the reality is when we're using these devices, when we're communicating, we use these tools, whether it be spirit boxes or the cat ball, anything we're doing in ghost hunting and that sort of thing, you're seeking communication with the dead. That's just it, the short and long of it. And I've been familiar with what's called a spiritualist church for a long time, and I've toyed around in my head with the idea because I would like to take what we do to a new level. First of all, we have all these gadgets, fine, it's whatever, all these gadgets of EVPs and spirit boxes and all these devices. But long before these high-tech devices came into existence, long before, there has always been this sense, this sixth sense, I guess you could say, of communicating with the other realm, with spirit. And the best that's happened in my life is when I have connected with spirit without the interference, if you will, of outside of these gadgets. I just put it that way, of these gadgets. So spiritualism, spiritualistic churches, a spiritualistic religion, and how a lot of people may not know what this is, but you can be a spiritualist and also be a Catholic or a Protestant or a Buddhist, whatever. Being a spiritualist does not take away from your belief or your religion of tradition, whatever you've chosen or is your tradition. It doesn't take away from that. We believe in a God, but we don't like to define God for people, which traditional churches absolutely do. We don't try to put God into a box. I've often said God cannot be contained in a book. Christianity locks God a lot of times in this book they call the Bible. And if you study the history of that book, a lot of questionable history about it. God is bigger than that book. Okay. So second of all, let me get straight up what I'm saying here, because I did not script this. So we don't put God in a box. We believe more in a collective consciousness than in a anthropomorphic sense. To us, that would be too simple. We use terms like infinite intelligence, because it represents more of an energy than a being. And I think we can all agree that it is all energy. We are energy. And what we have learned, what we know, is energy does not die. And again, in our interest in the paranormal and our interest in what we do in ghost hunting and those kind of things, what are we doing? We're trying to communicate with that energy that's no longer in this realm, what we call the physical realm. It's now in what we call a spiritual realm. These are all terms we placed on it. We don't have a true understanding of what's going on with any of this. And some people are endeavoring to truly do their best to find out what's going on. And others, it's more like a hobby. It's a pastime hobby. The communicating with the dead, the playing around with the gadgets, the going to a cemetery or an abandoned house. It's a YouTube, it's a whatever. And my whole background, even though I can act silly, I can cut up, but in the world of beliefs, in the world of spirituality, I tend to get very deep in my philosophies. It's not a superficial thing. And I will admit that I have limited knowledge, but we all do. It's not just me. The more I've studied, the more questions I have. So, how does this affect what I've been doing, what we've been doing? Well, Catherine, my partner cohort in this Abnormal Alabama thing, we will continue to go on the road and film quirky, strange places, interesting places throughout, especially throughout the Southeast. I'm sure that we'll continue to do our regular Tuesday night thing with our partner Kevin and the haunted dog guy. But far beyond all that and deeper into that, my focus, and I think Catherine may become more focused on in this with me, is this formation of a spiritualist church. To go over again and to reiterate what I had just presented to you. This is not a new thing. This has been around for some time. You can be a spiritualist and also be a Catholic. You can be a spiritualist and also be a Buddhist. You can be a spiritualist and also be a Hindu or Muslim or a Christian, whatever. Your predominant belief is in the religion of what's called modern spiritualism. And there is a tribune of science, philosophy, and religion. We can all say that religion is a man-made product. I think that we can understand that. And to have faith or believe in a certain way that feels right for you. You pick your church not because of things you don't like. You pick a church because it feels good to you. It feels right for whatever reason. We don't have dogmas or creeds outside of love and acceptance. And we don't try to define God for people. Our view of God is a collective consciousness, more so than the anthropomorphic sense. And it is, we refer to an infinite intelligence, more of an energy than a being. And this is something that we'll be advocating. So what do we do? What do we do as spiritualists? It's communication between this world and the next world, or the next dimension. And this has been around since the beginning of time. Greek mythology, the Druids, pagans, there's always been some form of spiritual communication. Long time before there were EVPs and spirit boxes and EMF meters and all these other gadgetry. The psychomantium itself is a result of such ancient times of spirit communication, originally known as the necromantium. So it is supernatural, and we believe that everybody has the ability to practice spiritualism. It's not presented in a mystical way, and it's not overly ritualistic. So modern spiritualism is a belief in the continuity of life, in the belief that after the physical death, there is an energy or a spirit or a life essence that goes on. And a spiritualist medium can bring to you a loved one that you're able to recognize by their characteristics, their personality, or by memories that come through from that spirit. And you'll know at that moment, without a doubt, that life continues. And many have experienced that. This is our religion. We're not doing this to be mediums where you come and sit and the candles are lit and you're doing it in a way to make fame for yourself. The point of a spiritualist medium in church is to prove to you at this point the undeniable existence of continuity of life. What it looks like, we don't know. We believe that everybody has the ability to talk to their loved ones on the spirit side of life. It's not just for gifted or special people. It works for anybody who chooses to exercise, learn, and develop their mediumship. We call it a muscle. And when we learn to develop that, then there's no limit. We prove the continuity of life by giving evidential information. Once it's been established, it opens this sense of freedom up for all of us to live the best we can, to be the best person we can. It opens up a doorway to spiritual living. We all have this inherent need for some spirituality in our lives, don't we? So some people would use terms like magic or miracles, which they're fun words, fascinating words, and they're sometimes used to describe the miraculous things that sometimes happen to us that we're unable to explain. And most of us have had those kind of experiences without trying. When you learn to live within these spiritual laws, you understand that these miraculous things were planned by the bigger picture or the bigger source, which is that infinite intelligence, that energy. So a big part of what we do besides the mediumship is education. Not to change your beliefs, your traditions, so to speak, but to connect you in a higher sense. So the formation has started, and there'll be a lot more details forthcoming as to what we're doing in this spiritualist church. And I welcome everyone to follow along. And the website is fscofal.org, which is an acronym for First Spiritualist Church of Alabama. And that is the site I've been working on. And this is an introductory live stream that I'm doing. And again, I'm going to I'll type this in here so you can all make note of what the website is. Hey, Playful Rain, how are you doing? I'm on this alone tonight. Nobody's joined me. I'm talking about a new thing, given my background and my interest in these things. And I want to, here we go. Freedom Banner. All right, right. So that stands for the First Spiritualist Church of Alabama.org. And you can begin learning more about what I'm working on here. And we will have meetings. We're going to start the meetings out in my living room, honestly. And I'm going to be getting the word out on that. And anyway, there is the brief introduction as to what's going on. And if you've seen kind of a hiccup in our movement of what's going on recently, it wasn't just because of Kevin's father having a surgery, but there's been other things going on as well that has led to the formation of a spiritualist church, because what we're doing in essence is we delve into the paranormal, and we're using tarot cards, we're using spirit boxes and all these fascinating tools. What we're actually doing is trying to communicate with the dead. We go to spooky places and cemeteries, and we're trying to connect with this other realm, the spirit realm. And that is what spiritualists do in a more serious way than what ghost hunters do. Hey, like that. Have you seen that in a while? Showing my age. So go over there. I will be creating a Facebook page for this, and adding a lot of content as we go. And I'm going to start doing a regular weekly meeting. There will be a regular sermonette of sorts, which is going to be little motivational things. And then we'll have the mediumship program, and we are going to delve into this in a more serious fashion than we have with all the gadgetry, because I think the biggest portal you have to the spirit world is right here. And we have so much noise out here, so much ambient noise, that it hinders our ability to connect to the spirit world. So there it is again, folks, www.fscofal.org. Check it out. It's not complete. It's under construction. This is something I've been talking about and mulling over in my head. And Catherine and I have had conversations about it. And it is time to move forward with this program. Join us. We'll be doing special live streams at least once a week in regards to this, and a lot of other interesting things coming about. So watch through the holidays, and then watch for 2023. A lot of things happening. Any of you guys has been watching and supporting us for a long time, thank you very much. The Abnormal Alabama live stream started in the early part of 2019. And here we are going into 2023. So we've been doing this for a minute, and a lot of people have followed us all the way through. Thank you so much. By the way, I am one who, of all the people you may know, this is very important to me, because all of my loved ones, my family, are deceased. So my curiosity is really piqued. It's not just a passive thing to me. I've had fun with it. I can laugh with it. I can whatever, but deeply, on a very deep side of this, it's very important to me. It's very meaningful and powerful to me. And I want to get to that level with you guys. For you guys who are very serious about this and who want to step up your game, well, let's phrase that differently, because it's not a game. It's serious business. So there's healing involved. Spiritual healing. There's it can help through grief and recovery. No matter what your beliefs are, you can find comfort in these kind of things. So that's where we are. I hope you have a good Thursday evening as the weekend approaches and we're getting hotly and very intense in the holiday season. Be careful when you travel the roads. Take care of yourself, and remember that you should be grateful every day, not just on Thanksgiving Day. Peace and love, and see you soon.